Today, I'm really excited to be joined by Kathy Demaray. Kathy is a registered nurse whose career spans bedside care, surgical leadership, and healthcare supply chain strategy. She held senior leadership roles across major health systems and group purchasing organizations, including the HealthTrust Purchasing Group, where her claim to fame was actually putting Care+Wear on contract. And today she also serves as a trusted advisor to Care+Wear. Kathy, we're so grateful to have you as part of the Care+Wear community. Thank you so much for being here today.
And thank you for inviting me to do this and letting me be part of the Karen Ware family. I really appreciate it and
Yeah,
enjoy my time there.
absolutely. The good thing is we never really have to talk football, so that's probably been why we're still such good friends. But go Ravens. But so you've had a really interesting career in that it's taken you from hands-on patient care to leading supply chain strategy at a national level. What first drew you to nursing, and how did your path evolve from the bedside into surgical administration and supply management?
So, I don't understand really why, but as a child, the white crayon in the box was always down to nothing because every time I drew the nurse. So I wanted to be
Too
a
funny.
nurse and I never changed.
Yeah.
When people change their career, I never changed. So that's what I wanted to do. And that's what I went off and became. And my goal while I was in nursing school was to get to surgery. I really
Hmm.
enjoyed surgery. The hospital that I went to in Connecticut, Waterbury, Connecticut, required a year of med surge.
Okay.
So as much as I kicked and screamed, I did a year of med surge, and now I wouldn't trade that because it really gave me a good foundation.
Yeah.
Um, so I went to surgery and worked in Connecticut for 4 years as a staff nurse, a large operating room, a great experience. And then I relocated to South Florida where I went to work in a tiny little two OR hospital. And I bring this up because a lot of people say, oh, you worked in a two OR hospital. How many beds? 90.
Hmm.
But I tell all nurses or prospective nurses, I probably gained more experience in that place because when you're in a place like that, you do it all.
Right.
You don't have somebody to purchase, you don't have somebody to do staffing, you don't have somebody that wears all those different hats.
Yeah.
So the learning experience was tremendous. That hospital was owned by Hospital Affiliates International,
Hmm.
and after I was there 6 months, I was promoted to OR supervisor, two ORs, yay. Uh,
Yeah.
and then HCA came in and purchased the hospital.
Got it.
So I had no knowledge of who HCA was, who they were, or what that meant. But the best part about it is they came right in and said, we're going to build a new hospital. So
Love
my
it.
experience allowed me to be very active in the planning, the staffing, the equipping of the new replacement facility, which is in Margate, Florida, Northwest Regional. So it was a great experience and one that I say I wish I could have repeated. Because once you do it and you see, well, I should have done this different, it would have been
Yeah.
great to do it again. Um, but anyway, we opened that hospital in 1985 and it was great because marketing, I was responsible and involved in the marketing, all the selection for everything in the hospital. So it was really, really good. And I was proud of the staff and everything that we got done. That hospital had 6 ORs. So I was growing a little bit, but I
Yeah.
still wasn't there. I didn't have the open heart, I didn't have the
Right.
big procedures. So I moved to a not-for-profit in Fort Lauderdale, which was Holy Cross.
Hmm.
And that was a very big change for me going from an HCA to a not-for-profit.
Right.
I went there as OR administrator and I stayed from 89 to 92. And in 92, we were the first hospital who looked at a product that was reusable surgical gowns, and that was with sterile recoveries at the time. So we looked at the product, we ended up implementing it at our hospital. And shortly after that, they asked me if I wanted to go to work with them. And I thought, well, what have I got to lose?
Right.
Next step.
Yeah.
So the nice thing about it was it involved a lot of the things that I loved: process, communication, collaboration, systems to make everything work because it didn't just touch one department. It's kind of like a lot like Care+Wear, where it touches so many different departments.
Yeah.
So I became a nurse consultant with them in 1992, and in 2000, actually in about 95, I think, um, I went to sales and was
Hmm.
responsible for the East Coast of Florida
Yeah.
in sales. And then in 2000, they relocated me to Nashville because I had been selling to HCA hospitals
Ha.
with no contract.
Right.
So they said, if you can do it, you need to go to Nashville. So
Yeah.
off I went to Nashville. So in 2004, HCA recruited me for their supply chain at the corporate level. And I think the reason, and I know the reason they did it, they wanted a nurse, they wanted surgery, they wanted surgical administration, and they wanted a vendor.
Yeah.
My picture might as well have been on the
Yeah, exactly. You were the target.
I know, I know. So it was great because I was recruited by somebody who I had attempted to sell sterile recoveries to, who remembered me, which was really,
Mm.
really good.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, that's kind of where I started with supply chain at HCA, and then it really evolved from there.
I love that. And I love that you followed what you first wanted to do. I always thought I was going to be a doctor, and then I saw a colonoscopy in 11th grade. And I guess unlike you, I was squirming like crazy, and all the nurses were around me. And that's when I was like, you know what? Being a doctor is probably not it for me. But so your role as VP of Supply Chain Board at HealthTrust was a key decision maker for products that are chosen and used across health systems. What were some of the biggest lessons you learned navigating decisions with so many different stakeholders at the table? And there any solutions that you found yourself wishing someone would bring to market?
You're right. There were a lot of stakeholders at the table, so many different personalities
Yeah,
and so many different health systems. Um, what was important was good communication and essential that there was good collaboration, and most important, that we gave these people at the table the correct information. So it was a lot of review and revise and make sure that the information being presented was accurate and complete. The other thing we had to do was remember that regardless of size, these people were making contract decisions for all of HealthTrust.
right.
So whether you were a little rural hospital or you were a major medical center, and sometimes it was important that we kept those little rural hospitals forefront in the decision-making
Mm,
process. The other thing was I learned very quickly never to try and force a decision. That was the worst thing we could do. I saw it try to happen a few times and it just doesn't work.
yeah.
Um, it was good to develop partnerships with some of the members who were able to help facilitate the process. And
Mm,
it was easier for them to steer the decision than it was
right.
for me. So
Yeah.
that was very important. Never showing favoritism and always trying to focus on the total cost of care. A lot
Yeah.
of people were, especially when I was there, this was pre-COVID, it was
Yep.
all about price. So trying to talk about total cost of care. And then also, as I was, when I was still there, they really wanted to see formularies and standardization.
Yep.
And if there was one thing that really would be great, and I just don't think it's possible, but it would be great, is for some of these companies to say, here's our formulary. If you're using
Mm,
our product, here's our formulary.
yeah.
Because we were responsible for creating those
For doing that.
formularies,
Yeah.
and it's difficult.
Interesting. So you just made a reference to COVID, and obviously you came out of retirement to help HPG and HCA during the pandemic, which I know so many people are super grateful for. But so I guess as you think about today and kind of where supply chain has gone, what are the biggest challenges supply chain and procurement leaders are facing, especially when you think about exactly what you've been talking about, balancing cost, quality, and the overall experience for clinicians?
I think sadly, really nothing has changed because it should have always been about the right product for the patient, which is
Hmm.
safe and clinically acceptable. But I think there's much more of a focus now on trying to communicate the need to look at cost as not always the final decision maker.
Yeah,
Um, I think during COVID, if everybody learned anything, they learned that single sole source contracts were really not the way to go because when
right.
your sole source supplier ran out,
You're in
it just
trouble.
wasn't good.
Yeah,
Um, so I think most importantly, it's about education and really talking to clinicians and getting clinicians information. Nobody likes change.
right.
Nobody. But you really need to try and share with them differences and let them understand that cost has to be considered, and it's not always about having the best, but having something that works and is effective and safe
Right.
for the patients. There is an evolving role of nurses in supply chain, and I think, that's been going on over the years where you've seen nurses in supply chain help try and make those decisions, but a
Yeah.
lot of those roles have evolved into nurses being more like supply chain people. Um,
Mm,
I don't know how often they have the time to really go to the bedside and get the
right.
voice of the nurse.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
always find, I mean, you still see that for even some hospitals today that'll have a physician as a CEO that insists on doing one day at least at the bedside, et cetera. But I mean, time is so tough to be able to make that work.
it is.
Um,
People are stretched.
yeah, no, for sure.
People are stretched.
Now that you advise healthcare companies and product teams, what are questions you wish more founders or innovators would ask clinicians earlier in the process?
Um, I think I think one thing is if they can ask, look, if it's a product that's currently in use and a founder is coming out with something that's a duplicate
Yeah,
and use Care+Wear as a great
yeah,
example. Patient gowns, nobody liked them forever.
right, right.
And so asking people what could make it better. And nurses are innovators. They
Yeah,
know. I mean, I've seen nurses come up with more jerry rigging, just put it
yeah,
in a nice way,
yeah,
uh, of doing things to make things work. And I think a lot of times, if somebody really sat and talked to some of these nurses, the ideas would come forward. Uh,
totally.
need to look and say, is what you're using adequate? What could make it better? And if it's something you could change, what would you change about it?
Love
And
that.
just give them the opportunity to at least give their input. And
Yeah,
then most importantly, follow up with the input. I think a lot of times,
yeah,
I've participated in some myself where I've gone even to companies and done roundtables.
right.
And they've asked, what about this? What about that? What about this? And then 2 years later, all those things that were talked about, nothing comes to fruition.
Yeah.
So not only having it be an exercise, but having it be meaningful.
No, I love that. And I think that's one of the things we've obviously from day one, nurses have been involved in the design and development of our products, but now with our customers having nurse and expert design councils where they're able to provide their feedback and have a voice, and we keep them updated on what's going on too, is just as important because as you're saying, I always hate it even when people come to me for career advice and they'll ask you to make an intro or something, and then you never hear what happened with that intro. And it's very simple to follow up with people and let them know, and that's how you get them to kind of become a huge supporter of you rather than just a one-time friend or favor.
I,
Um,
yeah, I agree. And I also think asking a clinician, how hard would it be for you to change this?
yeah,
And they'll tell you. I mean, some of
right.
them will say, don't even try and go there.
Yeah,
It's
don't
bad for
bother.
you. Yeah. But I think if that question is asked, and then if you can establish a champion in that person,
Right.
that's the key. And I think
Absolutely.
you've done that. You Karen Ware has done that, which is
No,
great.
thanks. Long way to go, but we've had people like you in our corner helping us. So I guess coming to Karen Ware, obviously you work with us very closely as an advisor. What excites you most about our approach and about our mission more broadly? And why do you think we're well positioned in the market to address the unique needs of health systems?
I think one of the things that caused my excitement with Karen Ware is when I first met with you, and we talked a lot at the time about the pick covers
Yep,
initially. And we took that to the clinical board, and I saw nurses actually get excited about something, and they said, wow, this would help. This would
yep,
help, all of our dislodged picks. This would keep them in place. So I think seeing the excitement on their faces helped me get more excited about it. And you were more interested in what can we do to make the patients better and make the clinicians feel better, and your whole story, the story, your own within your own family,
yep,
trying to find a need for or trying to find a solution to a problem with a product, and that's what drove you. So I think that's partially. And then having gone through my own cancer diagnosis not
yep.
much before, it really hit home. And I said, this is a company that is trying to do the right thing.
No, I love that, and still excited to be doing that today. All right, so now we have some rapid fire questions. So I guess first place, now you are a Florida resident again. What is your favorite restaurant to go to?
Oh, my favorite in Fort Myers,
Yeah,
Harold's.
Harold's. I'll have
Harold's is
to
wonderful.
I'll have to go there next time I'm down there.
Yes, you need to. You need to. You would love it.
Secondly, favorite football team.
Oh God, you have to ask. I'm
Yeah.
embarrassed to say.
You guys have a new coach. It's going to be an exciting time for you all.
It's going to be better.
Yeah,
And I
can't
think
get
our
much
court
worse.
and I think our quarterback's going to Baltimore.
You think so? I sure hope not. I kind of like our quarterback. Um, even if he's called a running back by some people. What book have you recently read or want to read?
Um, Let them.
Hmm.
Have you read it?
No, I haven't.
I gave it to my sister, otherwise I would show you.
Yeah.
But it's it's very interesting in that it's let go and let people live their lives and don't be trying to control everybody.
Hmm. I like
It
that.
it's really, really interesting. It was a
Yeah.
bestseller, and I saw a lot of people talking about it, so I read it. I gave it to my sister because if anybody needs it, she needs it. But um, but it's really, really good, and it's eye-opening because it lets you it lets you look at yourself and see how many times somebody made a comment or made a decision and you tried to butt in almost and
Yeah.
say, well, what about doing it this way? So it's good. It's good.
Interesting. And let's see. What are you most looking forward to about 2026?
Oh God, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a
I
very
didn't
tough
say these are
one.
softballs. I just said I'm going to ask some questions.
That's a tough one. That the world would be a little bit more friendly.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a big one.
One can
Um,
hope.
and I just started yesterday. Yesterday
Mhm.
was my first day. I'm doing tutoring with two Down syndrome
Oh,
children
wow. Yeah.
for reading.
That's
So
amazing.
I'm doing this semester. This was my first one. I've volunteered before and done artwork with them, but now it's going to be tutoring. So this will be a challenge. I came home last night and said, "Where's the wine?"
Yeah, I feel you
Uh,
there.
yeah, but I think it'll be fun.
I think that'll be incredible, and you'll be helping mold two lives, and I think that's what makes it even more special.
Yeah, there's a Gigi's Playhouse here. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's
No.
Down syndrome. Um, for families, and they go through prenatal all the way to adult.
Oh,
And it's
wow.
strictly volunteer,
Yep.
no payment. So it's really, really pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty special.
Yeah, so that'll be 26 that I get through tutoring, okay?
Love that. We're excited for the update there. Well, Kathy, this has been absolutely incredible. Thank you as always for your gracious time and energy and for being such a wonderful advisor. For anyone that knows, anytime you tell Kathy a time, she'll join at least 3 minutes before. So punctuality is one of her key traits. And
Yeah,
I still remember when you called me to give me the news that you were retiring, and you're like, "Don't worry, we're signing the contract, so you'll get that before I officially retire."
yeah.
So that was definitely one of the highlights of the Care+Wear journey to date.
Well, thank you for thinking of me. I hope this is beneficial, and I hope I answered the questions you were looking for. But I
Perfect.
appreciate you thinking of me.
Yeah, of course.